Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Lori Wondra. Lori is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Lori Wondra, and thank you for listening. Now, normally I do a monthly podcast for what's up with the energies of that month. But I tell you, the energies have been so intense, and people are continuing to ask me what's happening, what's going to happen, why is there so much pressure? I decided to do a quarterly update just this time. So today we're going to talk about what's up with the energies of October through December of 2025. It is a season of shadow, of transformation, and of course, illumination. These 4 supermoons that are following in October, November, December, and January are all providing that illumination and that push that we're all feeling. The full moon that we just experienced on October 6th was in Aries, and that ties to the series of energy that we experienced last April and what's been happening to all of us or with all of us or around all of us in the last 6 months. The archetype of Aries is I am, and that's a deep opening for purging and assessment of what's next. So the October full moon was that gateway of opening and the push to get moving on clearing the things that don't make sense. Now, the November 5th full moon is in Taurus, and that is the archetype of I have, and it's taking inventory of where I am, what I have, not in material things, but in happiness, in love, in peace, and success. And there might be some material, and where's my financial status, where's my career status, where's my relationship status, but it's more around the emotions, and that's what the full moon is pushing through. And then the December full moon is in Gemini, and that's the archetype of I think. How do I think about what's been happening to me or outside of me, with the opportunity then to change how we feel or to change the situation? And then we move into January. January 3rd is the full moon in Cancer, and that brings out the feeling. I feel, how do I feel about what's been happening to me or outside of me? And how do I either shift or change these feelings? And then we go into the February full moon, which happens to be in Leo, and that's the I will. What changes am I willing to make? So as we move through this final quarter of 2025, the energies shift dramatically from October's confrontation with truth to November's sacred descent into transformation, and I'm talking about deep transformation, to December's illumination and rebirth. And then we go into 2026, which is numerically a starting of a new era because it's a 1 year. Now together, these 3 months, October, November, and December, form a powerful alchemic arc, a soul journey through shadow into light. And sometimes we can't see that light. We definitely can feel the shadow. Nature mirrors this process perfectly. We see the leaves are beginning to change and fall. The nights lengthen with more darkness, and the earth begins to rest. Cooler temperatures. We feel like we want to go inside more, curl up with a quilt or cuddle with a book in a fireplace. Yet beneath the surface, new life is forming. The same is true for us. We're shedding, we're releasing, we're composting old energy to prepare for a radiant rebirth in 2026. That's the universal year of 1 and the start of a new 9-year cycle. But before we can emerge into that new cycle, we've got to get rid of the old, and the old must dissolve. And these months are about doing just that. It's about doing the sacred work, the deep work, with courage and grace and awareness of our evolving light. So let's jump in. Let's look at where we are here in October. And I know most of the month is gone, but it's still always worth it to take a look back and learn from where are we. Well, October is a universal month of 10-1. in a universal 9. That's a completion and renewal. So it's a mini cycle within a bigger cycle, within a bigger cycle. So October opens the final act of the 9-year cycle. In numerology, that 10-1 carries the dual vibrations of ending and beginning. So it symbolizes we go through death and then we go through rebirth. It's the closing of one path and the ignition or the start of another. And energetically, we are standing at the threshold between worlds. If I were to summarize what October is or was about, I would start with it's the afterglow of the eclipse season. All that emotional residue from September's lunar and solar eclipses continued through October and will continue to settle and surface what's been hidden through the rest of the year. Now, in October, we had a full moon in Aries that opened that gateway, that potent lunation of release, self-assertion, and personal truth. And the moon in Aries at that time opposed the sun in Libra. So that amplified themes of individuation versus relationship tension. And then we skipped ahead to the new moon in Libra on October 21st. And that was a fresh lunar cycle in Libra that was great for resetting relationships, but it would have brought up any old hurts because it's about restoring equilibrium and planting seeds of inner harmony. And so when we plant something new, we need to get rid of the old energy. But then the sun changes from being in Libra, which is all about balance, to Scorpio in the October 22nd, 23rd time frame. And that transitions us from Libra being in balance and relationships to the Scorpio energy of me and internalizing and depth. So we go from outer harmony to inner truth. And the energetic themes of this time was all about shadow work and self-honesty. So October invites us to go deep into introspection, and it asks us the questions: what fears, what judgments, what was suppressed in our emotions that are coming to the surface. And if we haven't dealt with those, they're going to continue to bubble up because that's what the universe does. Other energetic themes were being courageous and being accountable, stepping into responsibility for what you now see clearly. It's one of the laws of the universe is once you see something, you cannot unsee it. The vibration of what you thought to be or what is seen is forever changed. So integrity becomes the key to liberation. And lastly, it was about energetic clearing, engaging in your own autumn cleaning, releasing stagnant energy, unhealthy attachments, and certainly any self-defeating stories that you might have been carrying around for the last 9 years. So October is not about punishment, it's about purification. But the more we resist working in the shadow, the louder it becomes. But when we face it with love, it transforms it into wisdom. Now, if we look at November is about depth, transformation, and a sacred surrender. It's a universal month of 11, the master number of illumination and intuitive power. And where October prepared us, and that gateway opened, November initiates us. This is Scorpio season in full expression, the underworld of the soul, the veil between worlds thin to its most delicate point, opening channels to ancestral guidance, multidimensional awareness, and spiritual communication. The astrological landscape is that when the sun is in Scorpio and then moves into Sagittarius later in the month, we move from Scorpio, very emotional and transformative, to Sagittarius, which is visionary and expansive. The Sagittarian archetype is I aim, but not before we navigate through the full moon in Taurus that's on November 5th, because that full moon, November 5th, is about stabilizing the Scorpio season's intensity. It's about grounding insights into the body, those things that are tangible for us to actually work on. And then there's the new moon on Scorpio, which is November 20th, and that's the potent reset for shadow integration, forgiveness, and rebirth. Let the feelings come up, let the shadow come up, but then decide how to shift it, that is the rebirth moment. Now we've got Mercury retrograde and Mars traveling through Sagittarius all month. So that's truth in action themes. Mercury retrogrades are November 9th through 29th, and moving from Sagittarius back into Scorpio, November 18th through the 29th, is about truths resurfacing, words carrying karmic debt, things, secrets that are hidden that are brought to the surface that might bring some emotional shock or bring some emotional clearing for us. So the energetic themes for November then are about emotional depth and healing. You may feel pulled into those unresolved emotions. Let them surface. They carry messages for your growth. Let them sit with the emotions. Let them go into your emotional field and into your mental field and see what needs to shift. Do your emotions get to shift, or does your mental processes around the experience get to shift? It's also a theme or a time of surrender and rebirth. That's a key point in this season, is about transformation. That requires release. Trust what is leaving, and its departure is sacred. It is loving that it is leaving. And of course, November has got this mystical connection. So dreams, synchronicities, and intuitive downloads are incredibly heightened. So pay attention to the signs from ancestors and spirit guides. This would be a great month to do more meditation, more journaling, connect with those loved ones, those guides, those ancestors, those that are on the other side that have been delivering those messages to you. Look for their messages, hear their messages, be open to the messages. Now, in numerology and a spiritual insight, November's 11 vibration is a gateway number. It's a portal to higher consciousness. Take advantage of that. It invites us to hold the paradox of darkness and light and shadow and divinity. And in November, we remember that the dark is not absent of light. It is actually the womb of creation itself. And if we jump into December of 2025, it's about illumination, integration, and the return of the light. Because on the solstice, December 21st, we start gaining daylight back again. But the universal month, 12 and 3, is about completion, celebration, and spiritual synthesis. December arrives like a deep exhale from months of inner work. We reach the accumulation of the 9-year cycle. And with that, it's a profound understanding of what these past 9 years have taught us. Take some time to observe, to be in the energy of what have I experienced this year, last year, and the last 9 years. Into December, the earth tilts towards the darkest day yet, but within that darkness is the promise of the solstice light. This is a time of rebirth, renewal, and divine remembrance. The full moon on December 4th is in Gemini, and that's the archetype I think. How do I think about what's been happening to me or outside me? What's the opportunity to change how I feel or how I think about how I feel? The new moon in December is a true lunar reset in Sagittarius. It's ideal for expanding faith, vision, and spiritual purpose. The archetype of Sagittarius is I aim. So Sun in Sagittarius and then moving to Capricorn on December 21st, that's the shift from vision to what I see, what I'm aiming for, to the embodiment and anchoring dreams into reality. Because the archetype of Capricorn is I use. And that's also the solstice gateway. That's the cosmic turning point. The darkest night precedes the return of light, and it's a sacred threshold of rebirth. We start gaining light, daylight each day. But more importantly, it's the reminder of our internal light never goes out. It just reignites. And so leaving 2025 and going into 2026, we're given the opportunity to ignite our soul's flame in something new, something different, releasing maybe those things that held or took away some of our illumination, some of our light for the last 9 years, and releasing that so the flame that we go into 2026 is whole and bright. Now, the full moon in January, on January 3rd, is a full moon in Cancer, so it's going to bring up a lot of feels. The archetype of Cancer is I feel. How do I feel about what's happening to me or outside of me? It's that emotional accumulation and homecoming energy as we prepare for the new year. The moon in Cancer brings a deep, deep focus on belonging, our roots, and internal alignment. And the energetic themes are about integration. Reflect on what you've learned. Weave shadow and light into wholeness. This week, one of the classes I taught, it came up about reflection and the importance of that. And some of our ancestor archetype wounds are about not reflecting, not bringing those things up. It was just easier to forget about them. We didn't talk about them, kind of swept them under a rug. We were taught in many cultures and many times to not talk about painful things or not talk about things that had the potential to open deep wounds. But this is about healing wounds. This is about weaving the shadow and light into wholeness because they coexist. This is also an energetic time of being in gratitude and service, recognizing how far you've come, not just in the last year, but the last 9 years. It offers you this time of growth as light to others. And some of you will find that light being that I need to share more of what's happened to me out into the world to help others, to give others faith that they too can ignite their flame in a different way when they've been in a time of shadow. This is a time of preparation for the new cycle. So this is a time to clear the remaining loose ends, set intentions that align with your evolved frequency, not the old frequency, not what is out there ahead that you think you're going to aspire to, but where you are right now and grow with it. Now, in numerology, the 12-3 vibration represents the divine trinity, mind, body, spirit, and all of those being in harmony. It reminds us that joy is sacred. It's a sacred act of faith. And so December encourages celebration, not as an escape, but as an acknowledgement of our resilience and the light. Now, the spiritual arc that I mentioned from shadow to light crosses these 3 months as we experience a trinity of transformation. There's the 3 theme again. So when we look at October, the energy was about shadow and courage. The spiritual focus was about accountability and clearing, and the outcome was our personal integrity. November's energy was about depth and transformation, and the spiritual focus is about emotional healing and surrender, and the outcome is spiritual renewal. So December is about illumination and integration, and the spiritual focus is gratitude and service, and the outcome is naturally rebirth and alignment. So each step builds upon the last. And I know as humans, we just want to get to the rebirth and alignment, but we have to go through the personal integrity and learning. We have to go through the spiritual renewal. We have to go through those steps. October's courage makes November's surrender possible. And November's transformation creates the foundation for December's illumination. So by the time we cross the solstice threshold on December 21st, we've moved through the alchemy fires, we've stripped down, we've purified, and we are reborn. Let's talk about the impacts for each astrology sign from the October to the December time period, this arc that I talk about. Well, Aries, this 3-month season calls you to release control and rediscover emotional depth. October's courage themes awaken your leadership from within, while November brings profound healing in intimacy and personal relationships, and even the intimacy you have within and with yourself. And December then inspires a new vision of purpose. And Taurus, these 3 months, your foundation is literally shifting. October asks you to clear the clutter around your work and health. And November deepens partnerships and trust. And then December restores your confidence through alignment with your true values. And Gemini, these 3 months Well, first, it's the shadow work that's unfolding in the areas of communication and relationships. And in November, your daily routines suddenly transform. By December, creativity, joy return, reminding you that curiosity is sacred. And Cancer, these 3 months will family, roots, and emotional lineage surface for healing. And October brought the clarity in those boundaries. November invites surrender to deep emotional truth, and December blesses you with heart-centered peace and homecoming. And Leo, well, October highlights your voice and how you share it. November's transformative energy reshapes how you lead and express your vulnerability, and December grounds your wisdom in service and creativity. Your light becomes medicine. And Virgo, well, it's about self-worth, resources, and health that have taken center stage. And October clears the energy of scarcity and overwork patterns. And November transforms your beliefs, and December crowns you with confidence to manifest a balanced, abundant new cycle. And Libra, well, October is your mirror month. It's about your identity, your self-expression, and the relationships. Those are all redefined. And November deepens your sense of inner power. You'll find a new level of confidence emerge. And December integrates all that you've learned about balance and authenticity. And Scorpio, well, this is your season of rebirth. October brings quiet preparation, and November's portal ignites total transformation, and December restores faith and purpose, and your strength becomes a beacon for others. And Sagittarius, it's about the call to inner truth. That area grows stronger within. October awakens awareness in friendships and community and the relationships you have around you. November activates your spiritual purpose, and December invites clarity around mission and manifestation for what's ahead in 2026. And Capricorn, it's about career, destiny, and soul alignment, taking focus. October clears any outdated ambitions. November transforms leadership and power dynamics, and December calls you to ground vision into reality as a preview for your mastery of a new cycle. And Aquarius, well, October shakes up all your beliefs. November deepens your spiritual exploration, the connection between the heart and all those beliefs. And December opens your heart to higher wisdom and a new way of connecting with your emotions. Themes also include travel and study or teaching may expand your field of service. And Pisces, well, you are completing a big karmic cycle. October reveals some hidden emotional layers. November activates spiritual rebirth, and December brings emotional and financial realignment, all preparing you for a new level of embodiment in 2026. As the sun reaches its lowest point as we go into the end of the year and the solstice arrives, we are invited as humans into the sacred stillness, that pause between cycles, the quietness of darkness, the stillness that is not emptiness. It's actually fertile ground. So take time in December to reflect on what you've released since October, what's healed or transformed in November, and what light has been illuminated and are you carrying forward into 2026? You've walked through shadow. You've emerged illuminated. You've done that before in previous cycles. This next cycle will not ask for more doing, but for being, for embodying the wisdom of all that you've integrated for the last 9 years. And just a thought to leave you with as we approach the December solstice. I know that's 3 months away, but it's still, time is just going so fast. I leave you with this thought. Rest now, child of light. You've journeyed through the dark and found yourself whole again. the new dawn approaches and you are ready, all the work that you're doing now through clearing and decluttering and transforming and surrendering and allowing is part of your human journey, part of what your soul has already always known. I'm Lori Wondra of Your Life Core, and I want to thank you today for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Lori Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Lori also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.